Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Customs and asks, what details can she provide about recent drug seizures at the border?
The Honourable Costello.
Mr Speaker, last month a shipment of steel beams from the United States weighing more than 16 tonnes arrived at the Port of Auckland. Upon identifying inconsistencies with the shipment, Customs officers took further analysis and discovered 515 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed within the beams. This discovery led a joint Customs police investigation that resulted in the arrest of 5 individuals. Investigations are continuing with the possibility of further arrests. This is yet another example of the level of sophistication the criminal groups are using to try and peddle their misery in New Zealand communities.
Mr Speaker, how many individual doses does that over half a tonne of meth represent?
Mr Speaker, I'm advised that 515 kilograms of methamphetamine amount to around 25.7 million individual doses and around $570 million in harm to New Zealand communities and our economy. We know the extreme harm that methamphetamine causes to people who use it, their families and their communities in which they live. We also know that it is a contributor to the escalated violence in our communities. The exceptional work of Customs officers stopping this scale of methamphetamine from entering our communities demonstrates the critical role they are playing in protecting New Zealanders, and this government is committed to being tough on crime, ensuring our communities are safe and offenders face consequences for the harm they cause.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker. Is it becoming harder to detect the importation of illicit drugs into New Zealand?
Mr Speaker, transnational organised crime groups are sophisticated enterprises that will look for any weaknesses in our border system so they can exploit it. We've seen them actively recruit workers on ports and within airport facilities, employ technologies to hide their activities and engage in increasingly daring approaches to avoid detection. It's through the dedicated and diligent work alongside coordination and information sharing across agencies that we continue to detect and disrupt criminal organisations and better protect our communities.
Mr Speaker, supplementary. What work, if any, is underway to make it harder for organised crime groups to operate in New Zealand?
Mr Speaker, transnational organised crime groups represent a significant threat to New Zealand and pile misery into our communities, not only through drugs but through their activities like fraud, migrant exploitation and tax evasion. These groups are sophisticated businesses that operate across crime types and across borders. This means we need a strategic, coordinated response to detect and disrupt these gangs' activities. While we have good foundations to build on, I believe more could be done to join up efforts across government to tackle the interconnected nature of offending that transnational organised crimes represent. That is why I'm progressing work that aims to strengthen operational responsiveness across government and update the transnational organised crime strategy. It is critical that we have the tools and operational processes to detect, prevent and dismantle organised crime in New Zealand, and I expect to be able to make further announcements before the end of this year.